let's revisit our top story of the day. Our Charania reported earlier that four-time All-Star Trae Young has his eyes on the Washington Wizards as his preferred trade destination. Now, Young, he's played his entire 8-year career in Atlanta, but remember, he was not offered an extension when he became eligible at the start of the season. And now we are here with Young eyeing a new partner here in the NBA. So, Shams, why has Young set his sights on the Washington Wizards?
Malika, with the Wizards, Trae Young in the nation's capital would become their lead guard of the future. And the Wizards are a franchise that's been in the middle of a rebuild, but their top officials, Michael Winger and Will Dawkins, have looked for an anchor for their young talent. They've got some rising young talented players, and Trae Young himself also has relationships in that organization, specifically with the executive Travis Schlenk that drafted him number 5 overall in 2018, but also Will Dawkins, who's the GM of the Wizards. He was a member of the Oklahoma City Thunder for a long period of time while Trae Young was a star at Oklahoma, as well as David Vanderpool, who served as an assistant with the Thunder as well. But all of these conversations are taking place because Trae Young and the Hawks simply both understand that his fit there is just not long-term moving forward. They had a chance, the Hawks did, to reach an extension in the offseason. They declined to offer Trae Young an extension, and since that point, these sides have remained in conversations about his future, and the Washington Wizards have now emerged as Trae Young's top desired trade destination. Trae Young wants to be a Wizard.
Okay, so certainly a lot of history between the top players here for the Washington Wizards in their front office and Trae Young. Now it's a matter of how this trade is going to materialize, and we will certainly check back in with you for that, Shams. Thank you. And while we're speaking of the trade market, let's talk about Jonathan Kuminga, because the buzz continues to build. The Warriors again at a crossroads here. Kuminga's played less than 10 minutes total since the first week of December. The Warriors, they're in the middle of the pack in the West. They're running out of time to make a decision as the deadline approaches here. So our reporter Anthony Slater, he covers the Warriors for us, and he joins us now. Slater, I had said that we were going to put the kibosh on Kuminga conversation until there is a real update, but it feels you're shaking your head. You're saying that's not an option because the Warriors, they're having these conversations. What can you tell us?
We're going to be talking about this until like 2035 or something at this point, but Malika, rival executives are seeing what we're all seeing, which is a 23-year-old young wing buried on the bench as the deadline approaches in a win-now time for the Warriors. And they're saying value must be going down on Jonathan Kuminga. What was available in the summer, which the Warriors didn't deem good enough to trade him, is lessening. The Kings are a good example. They had a protected, first-round pick on the table this summer. They're saying that's not currently on the table. Still interested in Kuminga, but value lessening. And the Warriors are, at least voicing to me that they don't have to trade him. They're exploring all options. They're canvassing the league. My educated guess at this point would be he is traded by the deadline. But if he's not, it's because, the value keeps dwindling. I think there would be many upset figures in this whole situation if he's still here. But they have him under contract for next season. They have a team option. They could trade him in the summer, but the desire still is to do it before the deadline.
Okay, Slater. Well, your educated guess is good enough for me because you are one of the most in-the-know people there is on the Golden State Warriors. Since we're talking about this until 2035, I will see you again in 2031. Thank you so much for the update here as we bring it back inside studio. The Warriors, they say that they may not trade Jonathan Kuminga. Are we all good if we just put that over here for right now?
Yeah.
Yes. All right, we're putting that over here for now. The Warriors have a big game tonight. They face the Milwaukee Bucks. They need to get right here. Both of these teams, they need to make a move. Is there one that you think needs to make it more urgently, Shanae?
Oh, man, this is really hard. It's like split decision for me, but I'm going to say the Golden State Warriors, just because the urgency is on. We already know what the Milwaukee Bucks situation is, but for Golden State, they came in, and I'm one of those people that never really thought that the championship expectations were there, but more so to be more competitive in the West.
Right.
The league is getting younger as they are getting older. They are the second oldest team by usage in basketball, and so if you're going to try to salvage what you can of Steph Curry, you need to be able to infuse some type of energy around him. And I feel like they have more hope at doing this now, which means there's more pressure on them.
Is there any, I'm still trying to figure out what has gone so wrong in these first 35, 37, wherever at games for the Golden State Warriors. There was so much excitement the way they ended the season last year. Is it just the 5-month offseason aged players that much?
No, everyone has failed Steph in this organization. We're talking about an all-time great.
You said failed Steph.
Yes, and I'm talking about Steve Kerr, Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, like, they can't get right. This man is averaging 28 points on 47% shooting right now, damn near 40% from the three, and y'all can't get right. We're talking about a window where he's trying to max out, meaning to go win a championship. You didn't trade for Jimmy Butler last year just to come in and sign him to extension to be number 8 in the Western Conference. And then what's up with your player development? Why can't Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga thrive under Steve Kerr? They are failing Steph Curry to the max right now.
I hear all that. I agree with all that. There's more pressure on the Milwaukee Bucks. This is about the Warriors trying to get the final chapter of Steph's career right. This is about the Bucks trying to make sure Giannis' story continues in Milwaukee. There's hope to get it right under Steph. There's heat on the Bucks because Giannis over and over and over again has made sure that the franchise feels that pressure. And it's not necessarily move me now, but it's at a certain point he's going to reach that threshold if they aren't able to upgrade and make him feel like he has a legitimate chance to continue contending with the Bucks.
I'm with Tim here. I think, Golden State is probably one and a half pieces away from being like a serious team. Milwaukee, they're a couple pieces away. And their superstars thinking about walking out the door. You're in no danger of losing Steph Curry in the near future right now, I don't think.
Well, it don't seem like you're in danger of losing Giannis Antetokounmpo either because he ain't going to say a damn thing. Well, he ain't going to tell them.
It does seem like both of these teams right now are at a crossroads. I don't know if either one is going to take either fork. It seems like everyone's just sitting squarely in the middle, but hopefully we get a good one with healthy available players tonight in that matchup. All right, we had 6 games last night across the association, so why don't we go coast to coast, catch up on some of the action starting in Minnesota. Anthony Edwards led the team 26 points over the Heat, but in the second quarter, did you see this? He was on the bench with 3 fouls, so he just, had a little pineapple as a snack, Perk.
I don't have a problem with this. What I do have a problem with, although the Minnesota Timberwolves on a 3-game winning streak, I expect better from them as far as being consistent. Consistent on their identity, that's on the defensive side of things, but you always going to have faith in the Minnesota because you got Ant leading the way.
There's the pineapple. All right, next up, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, and Sam Merrill combined for 87 points as the Cavs handed the Pacers their 13th straight loss. Womp womp. Danny, should we put the Believe back in Believeland?
No, not just yet. I'm kind of disappointed this season. I expect them to be at the top with New York. Now they got Detroit up there. They're with 5 or 6 in the East right now. It's time for them to make a move. They've done this big, small guard situation. And it's time to move on from it, honestly. But this is the game they're supposed to win. They got to continue they're trending in a better direction, but they're just not there right now for me.
Well, we're going to put a pin in that with us moving towards the trade deadline. I want to see what move you think they need to make. But let's stick in the East for now. Down 26 points in the third. The Magic, they pulled all their starters on the way to losing to the Wizards. Orlando hasn't won consecutive games since the start of December. Chene, concerning?
This is pretty concerning because this was the year that was supposed to be like, hey, we're getting over the edge, we're getting over the hump, especially considering the East is wide open. You're looking at the Boston Celtics making the most out of what they have. So I do think this is concerning, but hey, maybe post All-Star break, they'll get it all together and be more healthy.
They head to London pretty soon for that international game. And I love when they win because I get to hear the song. All right, finally, the Cooper Flagg show. It continues for Dallas. Flagg led the way for the Mavericks, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. His biggest dime, finding Brandon Williams, who cashed it in for the game-winning three-pointer with about 30 seconds left here to defeat the Kings. You see it right there.
Strong side corner.
Cooper, he just turned 19. He leads the Mavericks in total points, in rebounds, assists, and steals this season. The last rookie to do that, Chene, you were talking about their number earlier.
Michael Jordan.
There you go,
MJ.
Michael Jordan. He did that over the course of a full season. So joining us now, our senior reporter, Tim McMahon. Howdy, Tim.
Howdy, Malika.
It just makes my day every time. Let's talk a little bit more about Dallas. Cooper Flagg is finally starting to find his footing within the NBA. And that means that there are some questions about the rest of the roster around him as we march toward the trade deadline. So what are you hearing about who they could be keeping, who they're looking to move on from?
Well, and look, that discussion begins with Anthony Davis, right? The priority is building around Cooper Flagg. Everything has to be viewed through that prism. On Monday, when you took the day off, I mentioned that Anthony Davis's preference is to stay in Dallas and sign an extension this summer. The priority there is the extension, not the preference to stay in Dallas.
Right.
Now, the Mavericks are telling AD and his agent, Rich Paul, that, although Chris is available these days, they're saying, hey, we're open-minded to an extension. A maybe on the extension this summer. Now, Rich Paul's been around the block a few times. Last year, he got De'Aaron Fox put in San Antonio. He got Brandon Ingram put in Toronto. He hears maybe. What does that sound like to Rich Paul? No, it's either a yes now or Rich wants to get AD moved. Atlanta and Toronto are the teams you're hearing about the most as possibilities. The Mavericks are going to talk to a lot of teams. And look, Patrick Dumont, the owner, he would prefer to see AD, Kyrie, and Cooper Flagg together before making any drastic decisions, any major decisions, whether that's trade or extension. That's probably not happening before the trade deadline.
Okay, so there's a lot there. Let's sort through it today. The most important thing you just heard in all of this, I mean, to me, it's that it seems more likely than not that AD is not going to be on the Dallas Mavericks.
I absolutely think so. And Perk, when we mentioned AD staying, why'd you have that reaction?
Because I know Rich Paul. Right? Rich Paul is about his client. Rich Paul is about getting his client the bag. And if the Dallas, like Tim just said, if it's either yes or no, if you're going to commit to a contract extension. And I wouldn't if I'm the Dallas Mavericks, to be honest with you, because Cooper Flagg is everything and more. He's the white version of LeBron James, Mr. Do-It-All. Real talk. Minus a little bit of the athleticism, but when you talk about filling up the box score, he does it all. Blocks, rebounds, assists, points, however you want, he's going to give it to you.
So that was actually the comp that I was not really ready for, but I was going to actually, I can see it because you see players that are good with the ball in their hands, maybe not like as natural or fluid as we expected to start the year, but also do so very well downhill. That's where LeBron James owned when he came into the league. He'd get it in transition. He'd just come at your head. And I think that everyone talks about mentality, competitive fire. I like his physicality. Like, he's not afraid to hunt mismatches and be great.
AD's my guy, but this is a tough situation to be a GM in. I would love to give him an extension because he's a great player, but he hasn't been available enough. So I understand both sides of it. AD should find a place where he can be happy. And Dallas looks like they're in the trending direction of going younger and starting over it anyway. So let's just move him along amicably like they're doing with Trae Young in Atlanta and find him a good situation where he can get an extension.
For keeping Kyrie, it sounds like.
Absolutely.
All right, so Kyrie's staying. Anthony Davis, it sounds like we're going to be talking about a lot over the next couple of weeks.